I hereby call the Finance Commission back to order. It's the opinion of the chair that all members are present. Central office.
All right, so if you look at the screen, your current allocations have you over $44,629. As a reminder, that number needs to be zero. So at this point, how this process will work, you'll be able to pull or go through whatever line item. So someone will just need to say, I want to look at the mission, make a new motion on a number, and that will get updated. What this process is not is moving the money to another line because you are over budget. So right now you are making line item cuts and not reallocating that money to other spaces until that number gets back to zero or have a positive number in line 84. So we'll run the similar process that we did in the other round. Again, we won't go in order, so you'll just have to be specific with which organization you're looking at, and then make your motion, second, debate, vote, and we'll go from there. Again, we are not taking money to reallocate it to another line because you are over budget by $44,000. Questions, comments, concerns that I can help you answer?
Speakerphone.
For the National Panhellenic Council, since they did not sign up, would we still need to move to allocate $0 to that organization?
You won't have to in this case because they didn't actually appear before you. So they were cut off from the very original round of it. So their number will remain at zero. You won't have to make a motion to reduce their dollars because they didn't meet the deadline to sign up. So if they had signed up but didn't show up, then yes. But because they didn't sign up to present, then their dollar amount is automatically zero. Other questions, comments, or concerns that I can help you answer? All right, I'll throw it back to you.
Do I have any motions? Commissioner Beam.
Oh, 1 second before. Can we say the name of the group first before you then make whatever thing so we can pull it up and find it on the sheet so we can have it ready? So say the group first and then make your motion after that.
Commissioner Beam.
3D printed prosthetics. I motion to allocate $7,200.
Do I have a second? I'll second. Would you like to speak on that?
Yes, this would allow them to attend conference, buy filament, and buy one new 3D printer.
I'll speak in affirmation of this. This kind of goes for all groups. We are going to have to start looking at these a little bit more closely. The original number I had for this for the first round was actually 1 3D printer, 6 projects, the $29.99 clear resident and conference at $7,700, but $7,200 is pretty close as well. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Commissioner Beatty.
Yeah, as we're starting to get into the cuts, I'm comfortable with this. This is still above the higher end of their minimum budget anyways, which they set as $6,000 to $7,000. So I'm comfortable with this.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will go into the voting period. Clerk Whitson, please take the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 7 in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention, the motion carries.
Do I have a motion? Commissioner Winslow.
I'm looking at Redeemed Campus Fellowship, sorry.
Commissioner Winslow.
I motion to allocate $1,400.
Do I have a second? Seeing a second from Commissioner Beam. Would you like to speak on this?
Yeah, just going back again to the events they're having, not influencing the campus community as much as a lot of these organizations who are purely for this campus, again, stating that about half of their attendees to those events are not university students. So I believe this cut is justified.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? Commissioner Beam?
Yeah, going along those lines, they did talk about how closely connected they were to their church, and me personally, I don't feel comfortable funding a church proxy too much.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, the vote will now open. Clerk Woodson, please take vote.
Voting is now open.
With 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions, the motion carries.
Thank you. Do I have a motion? Commissioner Brown?
Sigma Lambda Beta International Fraternity Incorporated. I would motion to $10,000.
Do I have a second? Seeing a second from Commissioner Beam, would you like to speak on this?
So obviously we're getting into this area. They are by far the largest Greek life allocation. Not to say that maybe they don't deserve it, but at this point we've got to find some fat to trim. Hopefully they will still have the resources they need to have an impact.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Commissioner Barry?
I'll speak in affirmation for this, as they do still have quite a bit money left over from their last year's account, so I think they'll be able to succeed this cut.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on this motion? Seeing none, we'll move into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please open the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 8 in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstentions, the motion carries.
Do I have a motion? Commissioner Island?
Model United Nations. I move to allocate $7,935 to the organization. This would allow them to cover registration. This would cover the entirety of the Ozark.
Can I have a second?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Commissioner Barry? You may go ahead.
Yes. This allocation will cover the entirety of the Arab Ozark competition, as well as registration costs for AMUN, as well as registration and transportation costs for AMUN.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Commissioner Barry?
I'll speak in affirmation, as they do receive money from the College of LAS, as well as other revenue from their conference.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please take the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 7 in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention, the motion carries.
Do I have a motion? Commissioner Beatty?
For Pre-Dental Student Association.
Go ahead.
I would like to allocate $7,000 to the Pre-Dental Student Association.
Do I have a second? Seeing a second by Vice President Raju, would you like to speak on that?
Yes, I trimmed a little bit off of their, from how I was previously calculating and getting a similar number to what it was before. I trimmed off some of their general meetings, also with their travel costs to KMOM specifically, especially with lodging. I know there's other organizations that make similar amounts of travel and complete the entire trip in one day without lodging, so I'll recommend that they also look at that.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on that? Seeing. We'll now enter the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please take the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 8 in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstention, the motion carries.
Men's Volleyball Club. It's under Wichita State Volleyball Club. I motion to allocate 6,000. Seeing a second by Winslow. I reduced this team or this org down by 2,000 just because funding one team with nationals, it has the range between $5,780 to $7,630, and I figured 6,000 was kind of a middle range. This year just might not be one of the years that we can fund them enough to take 2 teams. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Commissioner Winslow.
Yeah, I'd like to say that's kind of what I was originally thinking when I first calculated what I was going to originally motion. But again, with only bringing that one team and again, still not funding those jerseys.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please take the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstention, the motion carries.
Do I have a motion? Commissioner Beam.
I motion, Audio Engineering Society. I motion 5,360.
Do I have a second? Seeing a second from Commissioner Brown. Would you like to speak on this?
Yes, this would allow them to go to the AES conference and fully fund tabling, fundraising, and guest speaking costs.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? Point of order. Second was from Commissioner Brown. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now enter the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please take the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 7 in favor, 1 against, and 0 abstention, the motion carries.
Commissioner Beatty.
Hispanic American Leadership Organization.
Go ahead.
I would like to motion $15,200.
Do I have a second? Commissioner Barry. Go ahead.
For this, I am budgeting for the Si Se Puede Day, the Usually Conference for those 10 people, and Posada.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now enter the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please take the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 8 in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstentions, the motion carries.
Do I have a motion? Commissioner Winslow.
Turning Point, USA.
Go ahead.
I motion for 5,370.
Do I have a second? Seeing a second from Commissioner Brown. Would you like to speak on that?
Yeah, this still allows them to attend both of their conferences with 3 people, and it still allows them to fund a speaker, and it still leaves them with about $600 for their tabling and meetings expense, of which they are also given materials by the national organization to disperse, so that might cut down on some of those costs as well to help them with that.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? Commissioner Brown.
Second.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll now enter the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please take the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 7 in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention, the motion carries.
Do I have a motion? Commissioner Island.
Innovation Design Student Organization. I motion to allocate $5,000 to this organization.
Do I have a second? Seeing a second from Vice President Raju. Go ahead.
This allocation would allow them to continue hosting the hackathon as well as their Adobe Student Ambassador events in conjunction with still being able to fund a few students for their CES conference.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on this at this time? Seeing none, we will now go into the voting. Clerk Woodson, please take the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions, the motion carries.
Do I have a motion? Speakerphone.
Spectrum.
Go ahead.
I move to allocate 16,900.
I'll second. Would you like to speak?
Yes. Within their presentation, they said that was their minimum operating budget, which will cover things like their conference, their winter drag pageant, meetings and events, and a couple other items as well.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, will you please open the voting?
Voting is now open.
With 8 in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstentions, the motion carries.
Thank you. Commissioner Brown.
Society for Women Engineers. I motion to allocate $7,000.
Do I have a second? Seeing a second. Would you like to speak on this?
Yep, so with that amount, they can bring 5 people to their annual conference with their registration, travel, and hotel paid. And they would still have some left over for some of their other expenses.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now go into the voting period. Clerk Wilson, you may take the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 7 in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention, the motion carries.
Commissioner Beam.
Biomedical engineering,
Go ahead.
5,385.
Seeing a second from Commissioner Brown, would you like to speak on that?
Yes, this will allow, this will cover the cost for 3 people to go to conference and all of the general meeting funds.
Would anybody else like to speak on that? Seeing none, we'll now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, will you please open the vote?
Voting is now open.
With 7 in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention, the motion carries.
Commissioner Winslow.
Society of Physics students. Society of Physics students.
Go ahead.
I motion for 6,450.
Second. Seeing a second by Commissioner Berry. Would you like to speak on this?
Yeah, this still, again, allows them, this still allows them their minimum budget of $2,500 and allows them to also attend their conference just with 4 people instead of 5.
Would anybody like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, can you please open the voting?
Voting is now open.
With 8 in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstention, the motion carries.
Engineers Without Borders. Engineers Without Borders. 5,500. Seeing a second from Commissioner Brown. Looking at their fiscal expense projections, cutting this, we talked about this a little bit earlier when we said we'd like to see it higher, but at this point we're going to have to drop it back down a little bit lower. There's nothing generally that this is going to cover, specifically all of their air travel material costs are a little bit lower than this, but this is just hopefully get them some relief for the year, so hopefully they can go about and do those projects that they do in other countries. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we'll go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, would you open the vote, please?
Voting is now open.
With 6 in favor, 0 against, and 2 abstentions, the motion carries.
Commissioner Beatty.
Shocker Racing Formula SAE.
Go ahead.
$5,600.
Do I have a second? Seeing a second from Commissioner Island. Would you like to speak on that?
Yes, this is roughly half the price for the Michigan competition, or a little bit less than being able to go to both the wheat formula, or the Formula Wheat, and the UTA Autocross.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please open the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 7 in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention, the motion carries.
Speakerphone.
Graduate Student Council.
Go ahead.
I move to allocate 10,000.
Seeing a second from Commissioner Beam. Would you like to speak on this?
Yes, so this amount will still cover items such as their welcome social event, in addition to their business presentation conference, and some of the other collaboration events that they have for this year.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please open the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 8 in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstention, the motion carries.
Point of information, can I see the total below?
That's $13,805.
Thank you. Vice President Raju?
International Student Union.
Go ahead.
I motion to allocate 5,700.
Do I have a second? Commissioner Beam? Would you like to speak on that?
Yes, this would still cover all of their events for the year. It would just be removing some of the promotional items and a few of the canopies that they had wanted to obtain for their events.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, will you open the vote?
Voting is now open.
With 8 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions, the motion carries.
Shocker Racing Baja, SAE. $5,000. Do I have a second? Commissioner Beam? I got to 5,000 by adding up the competition of their competition registration fee and then the travel expenses, including the gas and the truck rental. And then I added an extra $500 that hopefully they could put towards food, housing, accommodation, just since we won't be able to cover all of those costs this year. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please open up the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 7 in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention, the motion carries. Your new balance over is $10,443.
Thank you. Commissioner Winslow?
Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I motion to allocate 3,500.
Do I have a second? Seeing no second, the motion fails. Do I have a motion? Commissioner Beam?
IEEE Eta Kappa Nu.
Go ahead.
I motion to allocate 1,780.
Do I have a second? Commissioner Island, would you like to speak on this?
Yes, this covers everything but the plane tickets to Dallas, which I don't believe they need, and the award ceremony they plan on having.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Commissioner Island.
I would similarly like to speak in affirmation of this motion. I believe that this would be able to allow them to carry out their general operations, and they would be able to use some of their safekeeping funds and fundraising revenue to be able to cover travel and other registration costs associated with their student leadership conference.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please open the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 7 in favor, 1 against, and 0 abstention, the motion carries.
Do I have a motion? Speaker Fawn.
I have a point of information, if it's so be allowed.
Go ahead.
How much would it be if we divide the remaining costs among all the organizations, excluding the ones that were allocated $0?
If you give us a couple of minutes, we can get that figured out. Excluding the 1 0, right? Yeah. Yeah, if you give us a couple of minutes, we can figure it out.
Point of information. Can I take a recess? Thank you. The Finance Commission will recess for 10 minutes. We'll reconvene at 6:27. I hereby call the Finance Commission back to order. It's the opinion of the chair that all members are present. Central office.
Okay, so the question was, what percentage would it be to get to where we are? It is a 2.3%. So if you look at column F, Lauren, will you scroll up? If you look at column F, this gives you 2.3% rounded up, leaving you with $16 to allocate. Keeping in mind that was just a question, it wasn't an actual thing, so that answers hopefully your question at this moment.
I'd like to open the floor for any questions or motions. Commissioner Island.
Point of information.
Go ahead.
What would be the dollar amount per organization?
That ranges, let me see if it's on. The new column F will tell you what that dollar amount is, of what the difference between the two would be. Not rounded in this scenario, but.
Commissioner Beam.
I have a motion for the National Society of Black Engineers.
Go ahead.
I motion to allocate 8,000.
Second. I'll second that. Would you like to speak on that?
Yes, this would allow them to send 20 members to conference, plus cover all meeting costs and promotional costs.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, will you please open the vote?
Voting is now open.
With 8 in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstentions, the motion carries.
Do I have a motion? Commissioner Brown.
Leading Hispanics in STEM, and for $6,000.
Do I have a second? Seeing a second from Commissioner Beam, would you like to speak on that?
Yeah, I think we're just down to the wire at this point. This is kind of, I think, what the best we can do for these folks at this time, and hopefully they will be able to manage.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on that at this time? Commissioner Island.
I'll be speaking in negation of this motion. I believe that this change would be detrimental to the organization, and I believe that there are better ways that we can seek to reallocate the funds to get closer to where we need to be.
I'll be speaking in affirmation of this motion. I think that no matter where we take the funds from, it's going to be detrimental. I think that at some point we do have to revisit and look at every dollar allocated and see where we can prioritize each organization on its own and which organization has the capacity to host fundraisers and get sponsorships and things like that. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please open the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 4 in favor, 4 against, and 0 abstentions, that brings a tie. So Treasurer Naylor, how do you vote?
Yes.
With 5 in favor, 4 against, and 0 abstentions, the motion carries.
Do I have a motion? Point of information. What would the percentage look like now?
Well, we'd have to do the math again, but if you kept it 2.3%, that would give you a total of $4,200 left to allocate. But we would need time again to get the new math done, if that is what you're asking. Okay.
Commissioner Island.
Student Association for Supply Chain Management.
Go ahead.
I'd like to motion to fund this organization at $4,300.
Student Association for Supply Chain Management at $4,300 from Commissioner Island. Do I have a second? Commissioner Beatty. Would you like to speak on this?
Yes, this allocation would allow this organization to completely take care of its kickoff events and simulations, as well as its guest speakers and panels, with a little bit of wiggle room for its event logistics.
Would anybody else like to speak on this? I will speak in affirmation for this. Seeing none, we will now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, will you open the vote?
Voting is now open.
With 8 in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstentions, that motion carries. And prior to this, it was 1.1%. So now this changes it again, but prior to that, it was a 1.1%.
I motion to take 1.1% off of all organizations.
That was the old number prior to this motion.
Can I get a new number?
Give us just a second.
Thank you.
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
Go ahead.
Do you have to rescind your motion?
I rescind my motion.
It's now 0.63.
I motion to take 0.63% off of every organization listed. Seeing a second from Vice President Raju. This will push us down to the wire. I was not comfortable doing it at a higher percentage than something around the 1% mark. I think taking away a large sum of multiple organizations is less fair than taking a small sum away from all the organizations together. This should even out our $0 budget. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Speakerphone.
I would like to speak in affirmation of this motion. I think we're at the point where we're cutting a lot of different organizations, and I think we're starting to feel a lot more, and everyone's feeling a lot more when we're starting to cut. So I think this is the most fair, equitable way to balance out the rest of the budget.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on behalf of this? On this? Seeing none, we will now open the vote. Clerk Woodson, please open the vote. The commission will stand in recess for 6 minutes. The commission will return at 6:45. I hereby call the Finance Commission back to order. It's the opinion of the chair that all members are present. Central office.
So I know you were about to vote, but we pulled the numbers. It is still 0.6%. There are two options from the math that works out. By just taking the 0.6% from everyone, gets you to about a penny over your budget, but gives a not clean number for organizations. By taking the 0.6% and rounding up, gives everyone a cleaner number, but puts you $40 over budget. So those are just your two options of if you just want to take the 0.6% and have not clean numbers, or round everyone up to the nearest dollar, gives them clear numbers, but then you're still over budget by $40.
Thank you, Central Office. I would like to retract my motion. I would then like to motion to go to American String Teachers Association. Wichita State American String Teachers Association. Point of order. How do I change, point of information, how do I change it then?
So you would have to adopt one of these things before you take any more money. Because if you take anything else now, it will mess this up and we'll have to do it all over again. So either adopt one of these two recommendations and then go back and rebalance, or if you take anything else, we're gonna have to do the math again.
Go ahead.
Point of information. Okay, so if we adopted the 0.6 across, then we could go back and fix the cent.
You could, but you would do that for every single line. My recommendation, while maybe not thrilling, is to take the 0.6%, round up to the nearest dollar, and then find $40 from another line.
I retract my motion. Commissioner Beatty.
I motion to remove 0.6% from every organization with the rounding.
I'll second that. Would you like to speak on that?
No, I think we've spoken about it enough.
Commissioner Island.
Point of information, how difficult would it be to divide the additional $40 82 times?
Well, it would be 73 times because of the numbers of budgets that we have left with money in it. It wouldn't be, but it would, again, take us a little time to get that figured out as well. But then at that point, you're going back to, again, opening to random cents in line items. And while, yes, that may not seem like a big deal, the processing of it isn't going to look as pretty on our books from that moment. But not impossible, but it would just take time, and then again, we'll make the budgets look a little ugly again.
Commissioner Brown.
My opinion is that we do the rounding, and then we can go back and figure out how to get that $40 fixed. I think is, because at a certain point, we keep dividing cents and cents and cents. It's getting arbitrary.
I agree. I think we should just take the $20 from, or the $40 from one organization. Would anybody else like to speak on Tyler's motion, Commissioner Beatty's motion? Seeing none, we'll now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please open the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 8 in favor, 0 against, and 0 abstention, the motion carries. That means you are now $40 over budget. And you're not going to see it on the screen because it's not on that spreadsheet. So you'll just have to say the group and then give me some time to figure out which one it is.
Wichita State American Strings Association. $6,260. Do you have a second?
Sorry, their new allocation would be 6,261 after the vote you just took. So the one on the screen is not correct. So it'd now be 6,261 is their current allocation. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I motion for, do I have to retract my motion first? I retract my motion. Point of order. What would the $40 minus that be?
If you take $40 from them, that would be $6,221.
So that's the new number minus the percentage, correct?
Sorry, let me take it back. Their new allocation with the vote that we just passed is $6,261. If you're attempting to take $40 from them, if that passes, that becomes $6,221.
Thank you.
Yep.
I motion to allocate $6,221 to the American String Teachers Association. Seeing a second from Commissioner Brown, I would not like to speak on this. Would anybody else like to speak on this? Seeing none, we will now go into the voting period. Clerk Woodson, please open the vote.
Voting is now open.
With 7 in favor, 0 against, and 1 abstention, the motion carries, and that brings your balance to $350,000.
Are there any more motions? Seeing none, pursuant to the commission regulations as set by the bylaws, I move to authorize the signatures to forward this recommendation to the Senate. Is there a second? Seeing a second by Speaker Fawn. Clerk Woodson, please proceed with a roll call vote.
Grace Naylor,
Yes.
Manuska Raju,
Present.
Case Brown,
Yes.
Jay Nyland,
Yes.
Tyler Beatty,
Yes.
Point of order.
Go ahead.
What was Raju's vote? Did she say present, or did?
Clerk Woodson, please proceed with a new official roll call vote.
Grace Naylor,
Yes.
Manuska Raju,
Yes.
Case Brown,
Yes.
Jay Nyland,
Yes.
Tyler Beatty,
Yes.
Andrew Beam,
Yes.
Jamie Winslow,
Yes.
Caden Berry,
Yes.
Matthew Fawn.
Yes.
Oh, 8 yeses, 0 noes, 0 abstentions.
Seeing no further new items on the agenda, on behalf of the association, I thank each and every one of you for your service to this commission. The Finance Commission will stand in adjournment until August 27th at 1 p.m. Meeting adjourned.